we've got something that's really exciting.
I'm excited.
I'm trying to do it like Kirk used to do it, in Star Trek.
That wasn't very
Really
good.
excited.
There you go.
He could do it way better, Chris. He's got some practice. Yeah, he was Kirk. Anyway, we've got a brand new DAC here from 11 For those that don't know what 11 is, it's XIAUDIO. XI, the Roman numeral 11. 11 called the K-DAC, the letter K, for, I guess, key. He's got a story, and we got it on our website if you want to read it.
I didn't know there was a story.
Yeah, it was like, keys of the musical notes, like, I don't know, key to the key of something. So he decided to use the letter K for key, where this is the key piece in a system, which I guess
kind of is. Yeah.
I guess you could look at a DAC as, it depends how you look at it, but if you get once you got the amp, then obviously the only thing left is the DAC.
Well, you kind of need both.
You need both, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have a good one-on-one, you got to have a good one or the other. So anyway, that's what brings us to a K-DAC, is that we've got this nice, small, compact form factor in an R2R DAC that just happens to match the profile of the Broadway balanced amplifier that they also make.
What a coincidence.
Yeah, so we finally have a match set DAC amp combo, a killer DAC amp combo, really. The amp's full Class A, and we've got a nice R2R with a... Well, let's start talking about this K-DAC, what we know about it so far. We just got them in, so we're learning it. We were playing with it the last couple days, breaking it in.
Well, it's got a lot of inputs and outputs, I guess, huh?
Yeah, it's
for
full,
size.
It's fully loaded. Yeah, it's got a pretty fully loaded rear panel.
Yeah. I mean, balanced and RCA, which is nice.
Yeah. You could run both.
Both? Yeah.
Both, yeah.
We were running both earlier.
Yeah.
That was convenient.
Balanced to one amp, RCA to another.
Yep.
Compare
it's
amps.
Very similar performance to their larger Sagra dock, however, a lower price point and smaller form factor, which conveniently mates up well with the Broadway, which is nice in a lot of systems, especially in a headphone system. You see a lot of people that are looking for more compact setups. I know I'm always kind of sort of looking for a compact setup, so pretty good option.
Yeah, I mean,
little nubby cables.
I put a Broadway on top of a Sagra, and that looks kind of goofy. So much bigger.
Right.
Yeah, they never really made it well, and I mean the Sagra was the best we had, and it's still the best XIAUDIO 11 Audio makes in terms of a DAC. This, I would say, sonically speaking, this is similar because it's a similar nature. It's a custom Socris R2R board that was made specifically for 11 Audio, and of course Michael, the designer, is top shelf when it comes to analog circuitry and making it sound good and fuller sounding and having the right harmonic structure. And this bad boy's got a built-in power supply too. Full-size IEC, takes a real power cord. Yeah, none of that fake shit.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised for something this size. It seems like it wouldn't, but
Yeah, they managed to squeeze that on the back with a real on-off switch too.
It's a big on-off switch.
Yeah, surprisingly.
It's got
big.
a good chunk to it.
Yeah, so you can physically turn the AC off going in, really off,
Extra off.
in case of lightning.
Well, you can unplug it too.
That's always the safest bet. I don't trust switches no matter what.
Yeah.
Lightning or no lightning.
It's got a screen on it, which is nice. It tells you the input bit rate. It has multiple inputs and stuff. You could change the output volume. It's got a remote.
Which
Really
is convenient.
Full featured, more or less, which is nice in a form factor like that. It probably does what you're looking for a DAC to do.
Yeah, the remote is cool. Finally, we got a remote. So you don't have to have this thing near you. And it lets you select everything, filters.
And you could use it as a preamp then too, with the remote.
That's true.
Volume control, mute.
Digital volume on it. And if you were to, say, use it at reduced volume, interestingly, he did think about that. And you could save the turn on default volume by holding down the little knob button thing. So if you know you want to run the thing at -24 or something, you could hold that down and it'll save that. Next time you turn it on, it'll be at that level. Otherwise, it goes back to defaults.
I noticed that when you turn it on, it's got some neat features, like you can see it's ramping up or down on the output voltage. Mute doesn't instantly mute. There's no like clicking relays or snaps or pops. Mute just ramps the volume slowly down or up, within a second or two.
Yeah,
which is kind of neat if you unmute something.
Right.
Because you think about it, you're unmuting is like, if you left for a while, it's like someone else touched the volume control. It's kind of nice to have a ramp up unmute than just bam.
Yeah, it's nice.
So it's kind of neat. I mean, it's fast enough where you figured it out where it's quick enough where it's not annoying, where, it's not too slow to mute or unmute.
Right.
So it's kind of neat. It's thought out. It's well thought out. The way it reacts to the remote control and to turn on and turn on.
But the biggest thing is the form factor for me. This is exactly what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
That size.
Yeah, it's great for a desktop.
Yep. Normal size desk, perfect.
The full kit. And I mean, it's both pieces are actually designed to run on 12 to 15 volts DC. So technically you could run both of these off a battery if you had a battery supply. And I know there's aftermarket things like that'll supply DC.
That'd be a bit of a thing.
But they're made. It's made to do that.
Put some rubber bands around it, carry it around.
Oh,
with
yeah,
you.
yeah.
A lot of people do portable studio, portable recordings, or they
Yeah.
travel. I mean, you're talking what? Maybe the total weight here might be 4 pounds, 3-4 pounds. You got an
It's
entire
vaguely
high-end
possible.
system.
Yeah, especially when you compare it to any other high-end DAC, which is just usually a monster.
Tape
Carrying
an
that
iPad
around with
right
you.
on
It's
top.
just
Yeah, I mean,
unrealistic.
this would be a cool thing. I mean, if you travel, you're in a hotel room or something, this would be the coolest thing.
Well, yeah, transportable is the word.
Yeah, right.
Not portable.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can make a little case with your headphones alongside of it. It's sizable, but doable.
Yeah.
It's on the edge.
So yeah, it's small enough where, I mean, a lot of people run DAPs, but some headphones prefer to have juice. So anyway, and batteries are batteries. Where this you can plug and play.
You can't do that with batteries.
Anyway, we should probably cover some of the features in this. Like it's got, you notice the filter settings it has. I think it has 4 filter settings.
Yeah, 4 or 5.
4 or 5.
Mixed, linear. I don't know, soft.
Yeah, and it's noticeable.
Yeah.
Like soft actually softens the top end a bit.
Yep. And then the next one after that, it's linear, and it's like
Yeah,
totally
whoa.
different.
Yeah, he probably did it on purpose. It rotates through these. It's quite the contrast to linear.
Well, it's nice that you can control that from the remote. So you can just be sitting back, next.
Yeah, for those who are anal, you on a per track basis, you
Yeah.
can go like, oh, I like this filter better on this track, which I tend to see myself doing sometimes. But I found there's a mixed setting in there, which is a good word because it does work well in mixed filter mode for all kinds of different genres. So pretty good word if you just like want to leave it somewhere, And inputs, it's got every input.
Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Your USB, obviously, there's your primary one. That's pretty much the only input people are going to use, though.
Well, SPDIF some people use.
Yeah.
SPDIF.
I guess more in 2-channel.
Yeah.
People still using that on headphones?
I don't know. I mean, it depends on the source. Like some people have older sources. Some people are running like
I
CD
suppose.
players or something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
And down converting.
CD
Pretty
player.
limited
Yeah,
instances.
I've seen people
but okay.
do that. It's got I2S, which is in the form of an HDMI connector, which of course is an HDMI.
I've never seen one
I2S.
use that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the deal is with that. We've never used it, but
Yeah.
some people do run that off of, again, certain sources. And you got to watch the pin on it and all that. It's got 2 SPDIF inputs, actually. It's got a BNC and an RCA. And it says the RCA is isolated, which is cool, which means it doesn't use the chassis as ground, which if you're running a digital signal, I guess, can be an issue. You're not creating a ground loop from whatever your source is
Decrease
to
potential
ground,
for that, sure.
which is really nice, hum and all that stuff.
Well, it has
Noise.
that ground switch too.
Yeah, it's got a ground lift too, which is unique, which we haven't played.
Yeah, that's
I've,
weird.
I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's made to lift chassis ground. So
I haven't messed with it.
I
so
think
yeah,
what would
don't-
happen is under certain circumstances, depending on your source of power and your system and how much crap you got hooked up to the system, you may find yourself inadvertently this becoming a ground, what would you call it, sink.
A ground sync.
Where this is grounded through the power cord, and now let's say a preamp or something else is in the system dumping noise, and it's going toward ground. It's going to go this way, right? So you say, oh no, it ain't. You flick the switch, it ain't going this way. It's going somewhere else. So
Yeah.
if you're hearing some sort of weird noises or something like that, I guess that's one way to eliminate it is just isolate the chassis
It's an interesting feature.
doing it. Yeah. So, I know some people wind up with that with hum issues with time to time. It tends to be. I see it more in more complicated systems where
Yes.
they'll have 6 amps, 3 DACs, 6 speakers, 4 headphones.
It's almost common in those complicated systems.
Yeah, something's going to
Yeah.
mess with something, you
Yeah.
know. But anyway, on a simple thing like this, if you're just running this, probably no need, just leave it as a default grounded. But yeah, the other beauty of this too is that its outputs. Did you read up on the outputs?
I did
The
not.
balance in RCA?
Oh yeah, well you told me about it. That's about it though.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's 1.4 volts RCA,
Yeah,
and then balance is 4 volts.
yeah. And the balance is buffered
Right.
out to obtain, I guess, the 4 volts. Well, it's 2 volts and 2 volts, right, on the plus minus leads, but 4 volts.
Uh-huh.
And the single edit outputs is right off the is right off the R2R board. So it's non-buffered. So it's more of a direct connection.
Ooh.
Yeah. So as long as your amplifier doesn't mind 1.4 volts versus some prefer a 2 volt out, then and your volume's good, yeah. Which you can adjust the volume out on this from 0 to whatever negative dB range they have set. So, if this turns out to be too hot out into the next whatever you're putting it in, you say you're not running a Broadway piece,
Right.
you could turn the volume down a little bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do have no choice with the Broadway. It's balanced. But it's made to run with this, so it works perfectly.
Yeah, you're basically coming full out of this into the Broadway.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we haven't played with the output setting on this. What sounds best with the Broadway? We had it set for max, but maybe it'd be better with a little less. I don't know. I tend to see that when you got like 4 volts out unbalanced. I usually go around -8 or something like that. dB.
Yeah, I've seen it matter. It doesn't seem to matter as much with this because
Yeah.
because he made it
They're
work
made.
together.
Yeah.
But I've had that problem on other DACs.
Yeah.
Too hot.
Yeah. It may sound better in general, so we'll have to play with that some more.
Yeah, I'll probably have to get one of these and set up as my gaming system to replace my current unit.
Actually, the DAC's rated for less than 1 millisecond.
Yeah, I noticed that. It's
Less
interesting he says that.
Less than 1 millisecond. Yeah, so there's no lag time for gaming.
That's good.
Because it is an issue. I had a DAC and it had like a 1/4 second delay. I don't know what it was doing,
Yeah.
but it's brutal. You can't use it for that then, right?
Yeah, and some DACs have buffers that hopefully you can turn on and off. The
Yeah.
higher end stuff has buffers, which is great if you're listening to music, but bad if you're playing video.
Yeah, you're clicking through tracks and you're like, why is it taking a half a second for me to hear audio?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I guess I didn't even think about that, but yeah, that is a solid feature. I mean, that's what I'm using. Mine's at my computer, so
Yeah.
good to know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's no issue with latency.
Yeah.
Now sound, we didn't talk about the sound.
The sound.
Yeah, we're running this one for about a day, so it's not
Yeah.
fully broken in. We've heard one. I did have one at home that was well healed, and I was comparing it to some other stuff and into different amps, and it's pretty cool. It's very quiet.
Yeah.
Like the first thing you notice is it's not a noisy, like, I don't know if people can relate to that unless you've been there before, where you go from one DAC to another and go, first thing you notice is like this black background, it's quiet.
Well, especially with the Broadway.
Yeah.
That's like that too.
Yeah. It helps that it kind of runs, it uses batteries for its power supply.
Yeah.
Quiet. So like, obviously when you get that kind of black background, you get a lot more subtle detail, which of course subtle detail leads to more sense of spacious sound. And this thing's got a cool sense of space, this DAC. And
It's different than the Saga for
yeah,
sure.
Right.
Similar and different, really.
Right.
But
Yeah, it's very neat. It's nice. It's probably, in fact, I don't think I've really heard a DAC sound like this before, where it's quiet, it's detailed, but there's no brightness,
but then sometimes things can kind of
Yeah.
get a little more edgy on like tracks that are kind of like that, but you don't expect it because it was like so like mellow before.
Yeah. Yeah, it can jump on you when the track
Yeah.
calls for it. It's
Yeah.
got good dynamic range. And I mean, bottom line is the retail's $18.99 on this, so it's not inexpensive, but in terms of better DACs, it's under that 2K price point. And there's really nothing there we like. When you think about
No.
it, nothing. I mean, everything's always says it's more mid-range centered, more hi-fi-ish sounding down there. And the bass is the problem down there, lack of bottom end.
Well, that's especially in the linear setting. This thing, yeah, especially with a Broadway.
Yeah.
It's got good punch.
Yeah, some serious punch.
Yep.
Yeah, it's almost like it has an extended voltage range to it, where it's got good overhead. It doesn't crap out like the lesser DACs tend to do, where you start to get a bit distorted at higher volumes. It's just clean. And,
It is a strange thing because there are a lot of DACs, especially in this price range, that do have that kind of like almost an anemic quality to them. They don't have the effortless sound you get in some of the very high-end systems. And it seems strange that you would get that with a DAC. But curiously, it's common across a wide range of manufacturers. So it's encouraging that this seems to be pretty good at a pretty reasonable price point. It kind of fills a void that existed for quite some time. So we'll see how well it works out in a long-term testing, because I need to get one of these home.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we're essentially at the beginning days with this, so
Yeah, yeah. We just got the first shipment in.
Yeah.
Some people already had them pre-ordered, so they're already out there. In fact, we should mention that too. It's on our store now. So if you go to bizheadphones.com, you can order this thing. It's available now. We have some in stock.
Some, yeah.
More coming.
Yeah.
You know.
Some
So-
already on their way. Nobody got one yet, I don't think. But
No, not yet. Yeah, it'll be out there soon. A few people already got them coming. So, but yeah, we've got it here, and actually, it's an enjoyable listen. It's really at this price point. I don't know of anything that'll do the bass that this thing can do, and the level of clarity without getting edgy or noisy. Those are all problems in this price range that this solves. So.
Well, I think the biggest compliment I could give it is at home when I was using it, I just forget about the DAC, you know. Mainly the size helps. No, I have a big DAC,
Yeah, right.
but you're just listening to music. You're not thinking about, oh, yeah, what DAC you're using. Just
Yeah. It's
so
easy.
It's kind of nice.
It's easy. And because it does have a full IEC on the back, if you got cords in stock laying around to play with, you can tweak it with AC cables. And, you know, and of course, interconnects matter too. So by all means, have at it. You know, anytime you change a DAC or any piece in the system, you always want to reinvestigate the cabling just to make sure it matches up with the new current standard, you know. Sometimes you have, like, if you have a leaner sounding DAC or a brighter sounding DAC and you just happen to find some cable or something that works with that, and then you put it on this, and now this sounds dull because you found something that was a dull, you know, you found something to create a balance. Now when you change something in the system, you upset the balance. So it's always something to be aware of if you go to a new DAC. And the other thing's true too, if you're not accustomed to an R2R ladder, these tend to be more relaxed sounding, but once you get used to it, you realize it's not relaxed. You know what I mean? Relative to, like, you know, your typical lower end stuff that's more of a brighter forward, more.
Yeah.
Its spectral balance is fuller on this, where the other ones are uppity.
That's, I guess, a way to put it.
Yeah, it's hard to put into words, really.
Yeah. So what I'm suggesting is, if you hear something, it's not that this is dull sounding. It's that if you've never used an R2R before, just give it a few weeks to get used to it. Let your brain get accustomed to it, and then go back to your old DAC if you still have it, and you'll be like, oh, now I see. That's the litmus test.
Well, I ran into that all the time, like, because at home I didn't have a ladder DAC, and then when I come here, we'd have a Sagra for, like, testing or whatever, and I'd be like, well, this is completely different than what I'm used to, you know?
Right.
So you do notice it immediately.
You get used to that sort. You try it. Your brain tries to get used to that sort of sound, and then when you go to this, your brain has to get reaccustomed to it. And now that it's just the way it works. And once you're mentally accustomed to both signatures, now you can compare it. But don't ever, you know, in either case, don't ever just poo-poo it because you're not used to it. You got to give it some time. But you know, I think most people just take on to this. It's pretty basic. It's very easy to listen to.
That it is.
And it's detailed, and it's got space, and it's got everything you want. So anyway, it's freaking exciting to have a DAC under $2,000. Finally.
And in this form factor.
Yeah. Yeah, that matches the Broadway. We have
That's
anything to
right.
match the Broadway. So what a great kit, great combination. So anyway, we'll have more on this as we play with it more. We'll talk about it. We'll throw it in the mix from time to time.
Peppered in other videos.
Yeah, we got to pepper it. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to stay tuned to watch for those little tidbits.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. The beginning and the end of videos.
Oh.
You never know we're gonna crack a joke about something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like
Could
why
be a real
did
doozy.
the chicken cross the road?
Tuesday.
That's right. Unless it was Thursday, then he didn't.
I was thinking you're going the other way with that.
Yeah.
No.
What does he do on Sundays?
Nobody knows.
Day of rest. Takes a break.
Oh, he doesn't cross the road?
Pigs out.
No, of course not.
Well, everyone, thanks for watching. Hope we get a chance to try this DAC out because it is really cool for the price. Take care of yourselves, everyone.